Hi everyone, this is Samantha from the Dancing Soap Dish. I hope you're well. Take a look at these cute little guest soaps that I've just whipped up. I'm calling them guest soaps because they're a much smaller than normal soap bar. These are 15 grams each, which is just over half an ounce. They're the size that you get when you stay at a hotel or resort and they give you a little bit of soap to use in the bathroom during your stay. So if you're looking for a little piece of at-home luxury, or you've got some friends and family coming to stay, then you definitely have to give these a try. Now, I've personalized these by embossing them with some rubber stamps. And I'm going to show you that technique today as part of my 2024 Stamped Soap Challenge. Yes, I've challenged myself to come up with a different stamped soap project every month of the year for this year. You can find all my Stamped Soap Challenge projects in a special playlist on this channel. Now, back to my guest soaps. What I love about this project is that it's completely customizable. I mean, department stores and craft shops sell rubber stamps all year round. And when certain holidays come along, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, they normally put out some special event stamps. But then they also just sell generic patterns like this. These are just some beautiful sort of garden themed stamps. So if you've got family and friends coming over for Christmas, even for a birthday, you're probably going to be able to find a beautiful rubber stamp set that you can use to make some custom soaps for the occasion. I made these in 15 minutes. I whipped them up real quick. So you can totally make them the morning of the day that your guests are going to arrive, and they can be using them in the shower that very night. So here is the stamp set that I used. I picked this up from my local department store for $2, which I think is the very definition of a bargain. They're just your typical rubber stamp, a thin piece of rubber mounted on a little block of wood. As I said before, these are garden themed. I also picked up at the same time this giant ice cube mold, which I really love the shape of. I thought they'd be good for guest soaps. They're square, but they also have these great beveled edges on the bottom, which I think would look really lovely as a soap. And I couldn't help but noticing that the size of the mold also matched exactly with the size of my little rubber stamps. So I thought, ooh, these might go really well together. And so that's what we're going to do. Now, my ice cube mold only has 6 cavities, but I have 9 stamps here. So I'm going to have to exclude a couple. I'll probably exclude this moth here because there's not a great amount of variation in the raised and the unraised bits of that stamp. Same with the flower and this bird. So I'll probably just exclude those. And I will go with these ones here, which I think all look pretty nice. Now, as I said before, this stamp consists of a block of wood, a thin strip of black foam, and then a thin piece of rubber that has the stamp in it, all stuck together. Now they're stuck together with just some pretty thin double-sided tape, which means they're pretty easy to get apart. There we go. This sort of whitish bit here is double-sided tape that has come apart from the back of this rubber. So I'm just going to push that back down. So the back of this rubber piece is tacky because it's still got the double-sided tape attached. But that's going to work in my favor because I can count on that tackiness to help this piece of rubber stick to the bottom of my mold cavity here. Take your time lining it up because it is sort of noticeable if they're crooked. You do want them to be nice and straight and centered. And that's what I'm doing now. And then when you're happy where it's positioned, give it a push down. There you go. Look at that. And that's pretty easy to do. Again, you just peel it back. Careful to sort of keep that double-sided tape intact because you do need that. If you tear it off or if it comes apart, it might be worth spraying some adhesive onto the back of the piece of rubber to make sure it sticks down into your mold. Now, if you don't have stamps that perfectly match the size of your mold like I do, don't despair because you can actually get an X-Acto knife and just cut around the image on the stamp and peel that back and put just the image down in the bottom of your mold. It takes a little bit longer, it's a little bit more work, but it's totally doable. I've done it in another one of my videos. I'll put a link in the description. And it's just another way that you can customize a mold with the stamps. Round stamps could also work, as long as they're small enough and you just center them in the cavity of the mold, they'd work as well. If your stamps are too big, you could also just cut, trim them so that the square is smaller. At the cost of $2 for the stamps and $1.75 for the ice cube mold, I've made a beautiful soap mold for $3.75, which, I just love cute little hacks like that. They just make my day. Okay, so now my stamp placement is complete. As you can see, there are 6 cute little stamps down in the bottom of each of those cavities. Now I am ready to add my melt and pour soap. I'm going to be using a white melt and pour soap base to make my guest soaps today. I said at the beginning of the video that each soap was 15 grams. So to make 6, I will need 90 grams all up. If you want to use Imperial, I'd probably go for making 6 half-ounce bars. So you'll need 3 ounces of white soap base all up. Make sure you do add a cube or 2 extra for wastage. You'll definitely need it, especially when you're weighing out things. You're not going to get the exact amount because there'll always be some soap stuck to the bowl. So I've just melted this down very quickly here. I'm going to scent it with some Jasmine and Juniper. Yes, I've got a blend of Juniper Berry Essential Oil and some Jasmine Absolute here, which really does smell divine. I'm not going to color my soap today. I'm going to leave them au naturel because I think that's just fitting for a guest soap. But this would be where you would add your coloring if you were going to color your soaps. Once that is fully mixed, I'm going to grab some isopropyl alcohol to help me out as I pour. So I need to put my mold on top of the scales so I can weigh out even weight bars. So I'm just going to set that up here. I'm going to set my scales to 0. And then I'm going to pour in a very small amount just to cover the surface of the stamp. And then once I've done that, I will spray some isopropyl alcohol just to remove any bubbles at this point. I don't want any bubbles stuck to the surface of the stamp because that will just impede the beautiful design appearing on the front of the soap. So once you've done that, very carefully weigh out the rest of your 15 grams. I'm just being sort of really careful here because it is a very small amount and it's easy to go over. So again, just cover the stamp, then spray some alcohol and pour the rest of the way. It's not hard to do. I did try pouring with one hand and spraying with the other, but I just can't get over how weak my left hand is compared to my right hand. It's pretty sad. But anyway, I'm going to spray this here. If you do find that you accidentally pour too much into a cavity, just get a spoon and spoon the excess back into the jug. You can be able to tell on your scales when you get to the correct weight. There we go. I'm also making sure that I don't hang about too much. I can see that this soap is starting to thicken up a bit and there is a bit of a skin on top as well that's pouring in, so I will move as fast as I can and just do this final one here and maybe a little bit of a top up into a couple of the other cavities. That soap's setting up now, so I think I'll just leave it while I'm ahead. There we go, one last spray to get rid of any surface bubbles, and we'll let that set. It doesn't take very long for this to set at all because they are very small soaps. To remove them from the mold, just stretch the silicone with your fingers, and that will pull the edge of the mold away from the soaps. Once you've done that, you can turn them upside down and just press gently on the base of each cavity, and I can actually feel that those soaps are just popping out there. And just falling down onto the bench as I pull this away. There we go. There they all are. So obviously they still have the stamps attached, and I will need to pry those away from the soap bars. The easiest way to do that is with a toothpick or a skewer that you can use to sort of gently poke, for lack of a better word, poke the back of the stamp and just try and break the seal between the stamp and the soap. And then once you've done that, you should be able to peel back that stamp quite easily. There we go. Again, don't poke it too hard because the soap, even though it's fully set, it's still quite soft at this stage. So I really just want to very gently nudge that rubber stamp until I can get the corner up enough to pull it away. Oh, that one was done well. That was easy. I'm getting the hang of this now. It's not hard to do. And as I'm pulling each of these stamps back, I can see these really cool designs that are coming out on my soap, just as I hoped they would. It's a bit hard to see in this light. I've got white soaps against a white background under a bright light, so it's not super clear, but I'm actually really happy with the impression that I'm getting from these rubber stamps. They're looking pretty good. Okay, now they might need some cleaning up. In some cases the soap did sort of seep underneath the stamp and I have sort of like some frayed edges and such. To clean that up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a clean dry cloth, and I'm actually going to buff the edges of my soap just to take off any soap fray. Also, if there's a bit of a hard line from like the gap between where the bevel of the soap mold finished and the rubber stamp started, I can also buff that off as well. On the back also, I mean, there's a sort of a bit of a harsh edge at the back. You can bevel that off or use a vegetable peeler, but I'm actually just going to soften those edges again just by buffing them on this dry cloth. And you'll find that they come out quite nicely when you do that. That's looking fantastic. What a cute little bar of soap. Look at that beautiful flower picture in there. That's really lovely. All right, I'll do the rest of these off camera and then we can take a look. Ooh, one more thing I wanted to show you guys. I know these stamps only cost me $2, but I really hate to waste things. So I want to show you that if you give them a bit of a clean up, just make sure you get any of that excess soap off the back of the rubber stamps here. What you can do is you can absolutely repatriate the stamps with their wooden blocks. And once you've put them back together, they're as good as new. Just make sure that you line up the picture with the same orientation that the picture is on the wooden block there, so that if you do want to use them as stamps later, you're not accidentally stamping something upside down. But I'm just using a butter knife here just to scrape off any soap that's stuck to the back there. The double-sided tape is still intact and it's still tacky, and I can use it to stick those stamps right back on to the blocks. Well, here they are. I've managed to take some pictures that show just how beautifully the Melt and Pour soap has picked up the images from these rubber stamps. I mean, they're so detailed and they're so delicate. They really are superb. And paired with a beautiful scent, I mean, your guests are really going to feel like they're staying at a high-end hotel or a fancy resort. Don't forget that these are fully customizable. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and all they take is 15 minutes. You can make them in the morning. Your guests can be using them that night. So I really hope you enjoyed this project. Please like and subscribe if you love what I do. And until next time, enjoy.